good.
Hey-o!
Oh!
Do not adjust your sets. G. Bush is out today.
Honey, I
mean,
Frank
you
G.
would-
Bush.
Yeah, that's
I made
right.
him white.
McNuggets is in G. Bush's place. G. Bush woke up with a stiff neck.
Stiff
He does
neck,
that.
stiff arms. Said he couldn't move.
He had like the crap beat out of him by Western Michigan linebackers for so long and stuff that eventually that wears you down.
By the
It's
way,
taking its toll now.
Yeah.
by the way, could Mike and G. Bush look any different?
No.
Like, could
No.
that be? Is there a more stark difference?
You remember the movie, was it Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yes.
and Danny DeVito?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should make our own spoof film with you and G. Bush.
That's right.
Called Cleveland Twins.
Yeah.
And you guys just go around the city and you just
See, the joke was that they were
hijinks.
not similar at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
You've
get it.
never
Yeah,
seen the
yeah.
movie?
Well, I know Danny DeVito and I know Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, they're not twins.
They don't look
Yeah,
alike.
yeah.
Picture them, not at all.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
supposedly making a sequel all these years later.
I hope so. I love the chemistry between those
Oh, they're
guys in
awesome.
that movie. It was great.
By the way, guys,
Uh-oh.
Are you getting off Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh boy, here we go.
got something to show
Oh, it's the
you.
Baker
Oh,
Mayfield
no.
jersey.
Here it is!
Let's go!
Baker Mayfield! It won't fit me, so that's why I didn't put it on.
That
You know,
is-
you know it's a knockoff. That is not the Carolina Panthers blue.
That's true.
That is not Carolina
true.
Panthers. That is turquoise.
You got the right-
Hey,
That's straight
I
up
didn't say
China
I was going to
NFL
buy a real
merchandise.
one.
You got that from the same
This
place
was the
I got
cheapest
my
one I could
off the
get.
leash shirt. Remember my off the leash shirt? Same knockoff.
That was slightly off center.
Yes.
Yes. By the way, still got the
Mayfield
tag
misspelled.
on.
Is it
As you can
misspelled?
see.
Is
What?
Mayfield misspelled?
No, it's spelled
Look at
correctly.
that.
Okay.
It's crazy how, the detail that they go to. They even knock off the official NFL tag.
Yes.
By the
I
way,
mean, it looks
Yep.
like it's other than the color being
Yeah.
off.
My buddy's friend used to make knockoff stuff in Youngstown. My buddy's dad. He made the opposite of the Nike swoosh. He called the swish. Swoosh. He called it
Yeah,
the swish.
swoosh. Oh, nice.
He's
All
like,
right.
mine's the swish. It goes the other way.
that's like the McDaniels from Coming to
Same
America.
thing. Let me see this.
So I'm gonna give this away on Twitter to a fan.
This is a rare collector's item now. This is like
It really
This is
is,
like
yeah.
a Dwayne Wade Cavs jersey.
Throwback.
I hurt
You
my
know?
shoulder.
Well, I think that would fit you.
I tried.
Come on.
I mean, I put it on this morning, and it was like a lot of my clothes are tight.
Yeah.
But that was like, it was sprayed on me.
I mean, wouldn't that
Seems like
make
it's-
the
I hurt my
gag even better, though?
I hurt my shoulder putting it on.
Seems like a
I'm not putting it on again.
Seems like a two-man North Face.
He hurt his shoulder putting it on.
Hurt my
Okay.
shoulder putting it on.
If Mike
it looks
Polk's-
good on you,
If
Mike.
you started
does.
eating
Hey,
Built
you can
Bars
keep
every
it.
day, by the way,
Yeah?
Mike Polk would fill that
I can
out.
fill this out with
You would
Built
fill
Bars?
that with
Do you
Built
want
Bars.
to keep it, or
15%
should I
off.
give it away to one of the fans?
No, I don't want to keep this. Give it to a fan, please.
gonna give it to
they
a fan.
deserve it.
A fan deserves that.
There are fans here that will wear
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
I will give it. I'm going to go on Twitter and I'm going to
man.
come up with a contest to give it away.
It's still got that wash
Mike wanted to
quarterback
smell
smell.
it.
It's got that
was a little
China
odd.
cigarette smoke
So,
industry
true
smell.
to my word, I did buy it. I can't wear it because it don't fit me.
So what are you gonna do? Like just like hold it up over your pin
I
it to
could
your
just hold it here. I
right.
don't know. I don't know in the original bet that I said I was going to wear it. I just said I was going to buy it.
I thought
sure
you said you were going to wear
Yeah,
it.
I
pretty
did.
sure we pegged him
Can we
into
go back and
wearing
look
it.
at
I think
Keep pounding, guys.
we need
Keep
somebody.
pounding.
Oh, there's the garbage can suggestion. Thank you. Good call. Good. We'll see. That's
So
good.
it'll just hang out with me. I'll just put it on the table.
All right, very
Yep.
good. Busy show today. It's Girls' Day. It's Ladies' Day.
Ladies' night.
Looks
on the
like it.
program.
Oh, well,
Mary
it's
Kay,
ladies'
Oh, good.
Aditi, and Serena Winters, who's the Cavs reporter.
Nice.
All three will join us to talk about NFL, the Browns, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is where we should start because disappointing loss last night for this Cavalier team. I don't know if they're getting bored already. I don't know what the deal was, but they dug a huge hole at San Antonio, a team that was in an 11-game losing streak
Trying to
before
tank, by
they
the way.
flipped around to three.
Well,
They
the
won their
players
last
are
three.
not trying to tank.
They
but
won their last
And
three.
Pops will never try and tank.
No,
it.
Pop doesn't know
I
how
don't-
to lose
when
on
people-
purpose.
When people say, and I've said this before, like when the Browns went 1-6, 0-15, or 1-15, 0-16, I said the Browns were tanking, which they were. But we got to remember that when we say a team is tanking, the players are not tanking.
No, the GM.
coaches are
Sure.
not tanking. The organization has decided winning is not important. In fact, we don't care if we win or
They
not.
give the chef bad ingredients and tell them
That's right.
This
Do
is
what
the
you
meal
can.
you're going to
But
make.
if you saw
You've got
Popovich on the
spoiled
side,
cottage
yeah.
cheese, make
cottage cheese.
make your dinner.
Right, but if you saw Popovich on the sideline last
he
night,
was very much into it.
He wasn't looking to lose that
Especially
game.
at the end, down
Yeah,
the
he's
stretch
going
when the
crazy.
lead was getting away.
God, I love that guy.
So it was awful because they gave up. This is becoming a characteristic of the team. I talked about the Friday after Thanksgiving. They let Milwaukee go on a 25-2 run.
Yeah.
The loss on Friday night, they let a terrible run go. Last night,
19-0.
going into the half, they were outscored 28-12. I don't know what it is, but for long stretches of games, they seem disinterested. They take bad shots.
Yeah.
It's like the basket has a lid on it. They give up all kinds of bad rebounds. It's like lack of hustle.
And this
that
one was the
happened
worst.
last night.
This one was the worst because this team is the worst.
This was the
And
first sub 500 team they've
right.
lost to.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Donovan Mitchell said after the game that they took them lightly.
Yeah.
The quote was, "We
Yeah.
played their record, not the team."
I liked hearing it from him.
I did too,
Yeah, I
because
like them
you got to call
acknowledge
these guys
it.
out, because that's exactly what they did. And
They
I
did.
got the sense that they just felt like, you know what, this is a bad team. We're going to save our energy for the end. We'll be okay. And in the end, they were not. Now, they did cut the 19-point lead down to a point. Then after being perfect at the free throw line all night, they missed a critical free throw that would have tied the game. So Mitchell gets a shot blocked with like 6 or 7 seconds to go, and I think Garland missed a three at the
Garland
buzzer.
missed a three.
So they lose now to the Spurs. It's their first loss to a sub 500 team all season. I think this is the worst loss of the year, in my opinion. What's your take on where they are? You're going to have losses like this. It's on the road. I get all that. But it just sucked when you lose to a team that you're way better than.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a microcosm of some of their issues all season than last night in particular. You mentioned the runs they seem to give up. I don't think it's them necessarily being disinterested. I think it's them being complacent and playing down to competition. And it's a young team. I mean, you look across the board. Mobley's young. Allen's young. Mitchell is 25 years old.
Right.
He's
We
still
forget
a young
that
guy. Yeah,
sometimes.
he's been in the league for so long, but he's still young. Garland's young. And these guys still are learning to play within each other's abilities and strengths. So they go through stretches where it's like, hey,
Guys,
let's try this.
We have breaking Guardians news.
Oh, please.
They signed the catcher.
They signed the catcher, Mike Zunino. I literally just tweeted about him yesterday.
Just talking about him. Yeah.
And it's just breaking
Who
now.
is that?
So Mike
a
Zunino
Mariners
is a
catcher.
guy.
He's the missing link. He'll work.
Mike Zunino is he's got tremendous power for a catcher.
He does.
His last year he missed like 3/4 of the season. He got hurt. In 2021, his last full season, I think he hit like 35 home runs.
Okay.
So his big time power. Now
Whiff machine?
he strikes out an absurd amount.
He's all or nothing.
He's not going to hit
What
for
was
average.
the deal? Did you see?
There's no here. Ken Rosenthal doesn't have. I can't imagine it's too much money. It's so funny because if you find my tweet, Mike.
It's in
Anthony,
there, Anthony. I put it in there.
I just tweeted yesterday that I think at this point Zunino made a lot of sense because I think what they're going to do is you're going to have Bo Naylor and Zunino share the catching duties.
Platoon.
You have a veteran. That's what I tweeted yesterday. Zunino on a one-year deal can make a lot of sense for the Guardians. Won't hit for average, but it's tremendous.
What is his
power.
career average? It's low 200s.
He's it's bad. I don't know what
it's going to be pretty.
It's still better than Hedges.
Yeah, but he's as bad. Like he's not
He's
going to
an
hit for.
upgrade from Hedges, but it's not a dramatic upgrade
It's
from
not,
Hedges.
but he is a legitimate power source.
He is. He can
His
hit home
last
runs.
3 full seasons, I believe he's hit roughly 80, 85 home runs
Right.
in his last 3
Yeah.
full seasons.
The problem is-
that's almost 30 a year for a catcher. That's like
huge.
how many catchers hit an average of 25 or more home runs?
Anymore?
There's not many.
None.
But it's
Sean-
like
Sean
Very
Murphy
few.
had hit
Salvador
35 in his
Perez,
career,
maybe Contreras, but
in
not
his
a lot
prime,
of guys.
Perez. Like, Perez isn't hitting 30 home runs a year now.
Well, it was 2 years ago. He still did.
Well, I know,
but like there's only like 5 guys maybe
Yeah.
that can hit 30+ home runs as a catcher.
You don't sound excited about this
I
overall.
mean,
though.
it's not exciting.
It's an upgrade.
But it is an upgrade.
And that's what you're looking to do.
There's no doubt.
It was an area of weakness,
Yes.
and now they're stronger in that position.
I guess I'm not excited because I thought if they got Sean Murphy, that was a massive upgrade.
Right.
Now
I was
you have-
disappointed, by the way, they did not get Murphy. I know
Right.
we're going to talk about that later. But,
Yeah.
I mean, who has more prospects to give up than us?
No,
And
and-
when you consider what the A's got for him,
Yeah.
it was a 3-way with Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a haul. I looked at it and I'm like, we could have beat that off for a million
So what do you think
times.
happened there then?
I think the Guardians made the decision that they don't want to part ways with that many prospects and that they're
Yeah.
going to be okay. It told me they like
Yeah.
Bo Naylor
And
more
the-
than I thought they did.
And the A's must like these prospects more than the general MLB consensus does. There's a lot of people around the league think this trade was a terrible trade by Oakland.
Well, I think what Oakland's doing is I call these shotgun trades. It's like it's like
Yeah.
buckshot.
Let me get 7.
You're
pray
getting
one
so
turns
many
out. Yeah.
pieces.
Right.
If one
Yeah.
or two work out, it's a deal.
yeah, they
it
got
works out
4.
for
They
them.
got a veteran catcher just to have, and then they got 4
But
young
none of
players.
them overwhelmed me.
No, they're
I
not.
thought that Cleveland could have put together a much better package with better prospects, probably fewer
Yeah.
players, but better prospects that would have enticed the A's to make the deal.
Yeah, I'm stunned that they did. So that's why it's a little disappointing. But, I just said last night,
Right.
hey, I think it makes sense. Based on what was left out there, Zanino's as good an all-around player. Again, batting average.
How old is Zanino, though?
He's probably 30.
Late 20s,
Yeah, I think
early
late
30s?
20s, early 30s.
I think he's about 30. I'll look it
Alexa,
up,
how old is Zanino? We need to get one of those.
I do.
Why
We
not?
really do.
But, the only thing about him striking out is the Guardians don't – the Guardians don't have a lot of guys that strike out.
No, that's true.
So it's not really that big a deal. He's a solid defensive catcher, so it's not like he's probably not quite as good as Austin Hedges, although Hedges can't throw anybody out.
He was doing well in the regular season. The playoffs, he was awful.
Now, Zanino, if you look at it, you look what he did last year. He got hurt.
Yeah, don't throw last year out.
He didn't play well. He'd played
Right.
30 games or something before he got hurt. He is.
And he may have been playing while he was hurt, for all we know.
He's 31.
Okay.
He'll turn 32 right before the season.
That's good baseball age.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about where I thought.
But
he was.
I'm sure it'll be a 1-year deal or maybe 2 at the most.
Right.
It's probably you're probably talking $6-7 million. So, as my guess.
The one thing I can't understand, and you guys please enlighten me, and Jason's mentioned this on the show before, is
Yeah.
the Guardians have such a plethora of prospects. At some point, they're going to have to put 3 or 4 of these guys together for a guy like Sean
and they
Murphy.
still
or
might.
like so, and they still might.
Yeah.
And at some point, you look at the positions of need. We mentioned first base. We've mentioned catcher. They've made 2 moves at those positions now. We'll see what happens as the season progresses with some of these young guys, but where's the position you're going to upgrade? I guess maybe corner outfield still, but I like Quan.
No,
I like
set in the
Gonzalez.
outfield.
Yeah.
I think their outfield
what's
is
next?
set.
So what position
I
is
still
there
think
to
they
You still need a
major
pitcher,
upgrade?
and I still think you need another bat.
Yeah,
By the way, 1 year, $6 million.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
about what I
right,
thought.
no risk.
right where you would expect it to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's again. There's going to be a bunch of games where he goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and everybody's be like, he's the same as Hedges. He's the same, and honestly, he could end up being not much better than Hedges.
Well, he can't be.
You heard it here,
He
folks.
literally can't be worse than Hedges.
But he can't be worse.
Yeah, he literally
has,
can't be worse. Sorry, Anthony.
He does have legitimate power. I mean, he does.
All right, we'll come back to that
So-
because thanks for the update, Bull. It is an upgrade.
146 homers in his career.
It is an upgrade for sure at that
Yeah.
position. But it tells me more than anything that they're ready to go with Bo
Yeah.
Naylor.
Naylor's
They brought him
gonna play.
up late last year. I don't think he had a single hit.
Not a single
No.
bat.
He
Right.
played
No, he
some
did.
games in
We
September.
were at the game where he batted actually, but he didn't get on
He
base.
didn't play much.
Yeah.
He did hit the ball hard a couple times, but
Yeah.
as my memory serves, he did not get a base hit. But they must have seen enough out of him to say, you know what, he's
Yeah.
on track, he's
yeah.
serviceable. We can platoon him, bring in a veteran to help
Yeah.
him along, and we'll see what happens.
what
All right,
they'll
back to our Cavs. Level of concern here. There's still 17-11 in the 3 seed. I know it's still we're not
couldn't-
even at the quarter pole of the season.
Couldn't be less concerned. I mean, the game it was ugly. It was disappointing last night. It was one of those games where they couldn't get it going in the first half. I don't know what their trouble is on the road. I think they're kids. I think they're young. They're 1 and 8 in their 9 last games on the road.
Is that what they are?
They're
Yeah.
12 and 2 at home and 5 and 9 on
And
the road.
they're really solid at
Wow.
home. They're very comfortable there, and I think that's just the sign of like a young team. They're comfortable in their own place.
I didn't
That's
realize
too bad.
it was that bad on the road.
It's real bad. But then here's what I like to see, and it's they were off. They didn't have that one. Levert was good last night.
He did play well.
And usually they have somebody step up like that, but. Chetty's been off. They're so dependent. He's so hot and cold. They need somebody else consistent off the bench. The bench scoring was down compared to the Spurs yesterday. But like I said, I love the accountability out of Mitchell, and I love that he took that game over in the fourth quarter at the end. And he'd even you'd see some hesitation still on Garland sometimes when he had to take the game over in the fourth quarter. And even last year he improved on that a lot. But there was just absolutely no choice, no doubt in my mind that Donovan was going to take that game over, and he was going to take that last shot, and he seemed totally confident with it. And it almost paid off. They got 3 good looks at the basket at the very end. That's all you can ask for.
Sure.
Refs let him play. There was a little bit of contact, but I like that. I like that they didn't call anything in the last minute there.
Right.
But I love what he said after the game. He didn't say when somebody said to him, "Do you think you took this team too lately?" He wasn't like, "No, I don't think that was it. We come in, work hard." He's like, "Yeah, I think we did."
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's eventually going to pay off.
I like that too. We played the record, not the team.
Yes.
And you can't do that. If you do that in the NBA, you're going to get smacked. Let's bring in Serena Winters. She joins us now. Serena, Mike Polk just made a great point about the Cavs being, this sort of Jekyll and Hyde, great at home, and particularly recently really struggling and looking much different on the road. What have you noticed? Do you see that there's one thing in particular between their home and road performances so far?
I just think it's how they've come out at home versus the road, right? I mean, I think that we see an energy with the crowd and with being at home that they love, and you can feel it as soon as that that opening tip happens. And I think we haven't felt that on the road. And I just feel like it's kind of as simple as that.
How do you combat that, Serena? And do you think that's something that they're aware of? Like, have they talked to you about that? Is Bickerstaff aware of that? And how do you flip that artificial switch on the road?
Have they considered traveling with Moondog?
I think traveling with Moondog is probably the number one consideration right now. I mean, look, Harry has told me the other day, he said, I wish that we could take these fans and take this energy and bottle it up and we'd have it on the road. So they're obviously aware of it, guys. I mean, to be honest, we ask about it constantly, right? We're always talking about home versus the road because that's been a huge storyline for this team. So are they talking about it? Are they aware of it? Yes. If you listen to all the post-game interviews I did last night, that's one of the first things that comes up is that they've got to figure out how to be the same team on the road that they are at home. So is it something they are aware of? Yes. Is it something that they talk about? Yes. But as Donovan Mitchell said last night in his postgame, they can say all the right things and talk about it as much as they want, but it's just a matter of going out and doing it. And so that's, I think, what we're kind of waiting to see.
Guys, it's disappointing. Like, I agree that I liked it. Mitchell admitted they kind of took them lightly. I liked it. I think it shows leadership on his part. But it's also disappointing that a Cavs team that we love and has all these great young players is taking anybody lightly when they've accomplished nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like I know they made the play-in last year, but they didn't win there. They didn't really get to the playoffs. So I find that disappointing. Am I being unfair, Serena? What do you think?
Well, I think that what we're not thinking about is this is not some new thing. This isn't something that's just happening with the Cavs in the NBA. I mean, this happens with good teams all the time, every single season. It's just a matter of this happened last night, so it's on everybody's minds. I mean, you look at the Warriors, this was happening too, right? I mean, I understand that your point of what have they accomplished yet.
Right.
And to be honest with you, that point that you're making sounds like JB Bickerstaff, because JB is the first one to say, what have we accomplished yet? Nothing. So why are we coming out like this, right? Like, this is not something that they're glossing over. This is something that's clearly something that they need to work on. I just think we do have to put this in perspective that this happened last night, so it's on all of our minds, but this is not something new that's been happening in the NBA. I mean, I feel like at some point every season with any team I cover, this type of thing does come up with taking teams too lightly.
Serena, you've had an up-close and personal look at how Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland have started to mesh on the court together. I know earlier in the season there was some times where Garland deferred to Mitchell, Mitchell deferred to Garland. They seem to be playing more as a cohesive backcourt now. How much fun has it been from your perspective to see that relationship kind of grow on the court over the last couple of weeks?
I mean, for me being around all the time, it's fun to see it grow on and off the court. Like, there's stuff that I get to see with them at practice or when the cameras aren't on that it's not some fake relationship, right? Like, we're interviewing Donovan at practice or at shoot around yesterday morning, and Darius is in the back of the interview the whole time. You know, he's coming to sit down and trying to mess with them. Like, I know that, you know, you had the loss last night and you might want to gloss over those types of things, but that stuff matters. Like, I have been around so many different NBA teams now throughout my career, and what Donovan and Darius have right now, this is not some fake forging. Like, they are doing these types of things when the cameras aren't on, you know, and I think that translates and will translate eventually to the court. They're still figuring each other out, right? Like, they're still figuring out how all of this works. We're, you know, a little over a quarter of the way through the season. But what we are seeing is that when the season started out, these guys were overpassing. It's a good thing because you come to a new team and you don't want to stir the pot, right? Like, Donovan doesn't want to come in here and think like he's taking everything over and stirring the pot. But what that was leading to on offense was passing up like wide open shots. And so we're finally starting to see them react to the defenses a bit more versus just overpassing. We didn't see it right against San Antonio, so let's throw that game out. But I mean, it's been a lot of fun to see these two guys. They're 4 years apart. And they're both so goofy. They're always making fun of each other. They're fun to be around.
Speaking of goofy, this is a little off topic, but I'm a huge fan and I'm intrigued by Robin Lopez and just his entire existence. Two-part question. First of all,
too.
When
Me
he
too.
he insists on sitting on the ground rather than on the bench when he's waiting
Mm-hmm.
to go into the game. I want to know, I noticed that when he gets up to go into the game, somebody has to sit down and take his place. First part of my question, who is the person who is assigned to hold his place on the ground when he goes into the game? Second part question is why do he and his brother like Disney so much in Disney World, and do you think that's healthy?
Okay, well, I can say that they're Cali guys, right? So being from California and having Disneyland there, I think that is what has spurred all of this. Is it healthy? I mean, who am I to say what is healthy for an individual?
Right, subjective.
Would it be
Safe
healthy for
answer.
me?
Good answer.
I would say, not healthy with my lifestyle, but
Right.
maybe it's healthy for somebody else. I will also tell you that I was chatting with Robin actually yesterday morning. And this guy he's so interesting, but he's always, as soon as shoot around finishes up or practice finishes up, he sits down and grabs his book. And I'm amazed at how many new books I've seen in the past 2 weeks. So yesterday I'm like, Robin, how many pages are you reading a day? And he's like, I try to get in like at least 100, 150 pages a day. I'm like, what? You are reading 100 and 150 pages a day throughout the NBA schedule? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So he's a lot of fun to be around. He's such an interesting guy. I feel like there's so many layers to him. I wish I had the answer to your first question, but
That's
I think
all
I might
right.
have to make that a sideline report. I
Do a
think
little
I've got a
bit-
really
Yeah, please
deep.
do a little bit of recon on that for me, and also find out. I'd like to know some of the titles he's reading because that's important. If it's like Young Vampire Lit, I'm not as impressed as if it's like some British classics. You understand?
I do understand. I was impressed yesterday by the title. I wish I had it for you, but it was. Let me tell you this: it was not Young Vampire Lit, and these
Okay.
things are like a lot of thick. Like it's going to take some time.
Nice.
Take some time to read through.
He has so many layers.
Well,
Smart
it-
guy.
He does.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
Has
Yeah.
Lopez and Moondog got along? I know Lopez has a interesting history with mascots. How are him and Moondog doing, Serena?
He does. I think that they're doing okay, guys. I do, and I think that there was, a lot of deep-seated drama for those two to really get past. And I think I'm starting to see some growth in their relationship. Not quite the Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell growth, but they're getting there. They're getting there.
That's a good crew that you're working with there, and we think that all of you are doing a great job. I love watching all of the games. I'm that sickie that's there every single night with you guys. Just so you know, and
Appreciate
you're nailing
that. Appreciate
it.
that.
How have you found your adjustment to Cleveland, just out of curiosity so far?
Oh man, I love it. I
Yeah?
love it in Cleveland. I'm an East Sider now. I don't know if we've got any East Siders on the set.
Yep. Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Here you go.
Okay.
What
There
part?
it is.
Where are you in the east side?
Cleveland
thumbs
Heights.
down.
Very nice.
Cleveland Heights.
Very
You're not
nice.
going to like me
Yeah.
on the east side when it starts to snow.
Oh no.
Oh,
It's
that's
okay.
what everybody tells me. That's what everybody tells me.
It's okay. You
but
can,
no,
you can
I love
survive.
it.
You'll make it through.
I love it.
Hey, Serena, what is this team missing? We've talked on the set for the last couple of weeks about, now that we've had a chance to see them through about a third of the season, it seems like the three is still a question mark moving forward. One of the names that Brad Sellers continues to bring up is Carmelo Anthony. He thinks that bringing a guy like Carmelo in can help this team moving forward. As you've seen it, what element is missing, and do you see them making a move, bringing someone else in to try to fill that void?
Well, I think what's interesting, I don't know if you guys have talked about Dean Wade at all, but sometimes I think people forget that he's also out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when we started the season, Dean was incredible.
He was.
He was on fire. He was such a great spacer for this group. And I think I bring that up because what we saw that worked to start the season around Donovan and Darius and Jarrett and Evan was somebody that could space the floor in that role versus, clog up the spacing. And that's one of the reasons why we've seen Karis LeVert come off the bench, right? Because of his skill set. And JB and Karis both trying to figure out how they best maximize his skill set and get the best out of him. And that has been in that bench unit with either Darius or Donovan versus having to play alongside those two all the time when Karis is a guy who isn't the catch and shoot type, right? Like he's so herky-jerky. He's like the ball in his hands. He's always finding the cracks, the crevices. And that's a great game. But for this group, in that starting unit, what we saw with Dean is how much the space can help out everybody else. So, I mean, look, I don't know what the Cavs are doing behind the scenes. They're always going to do their due diligence if there's somebody that fits. But I think I bring that up because what we saw with Dean, and unfortunately he's been out now and is going to continue to be out, is that somebody who's a spacer, who can shoot, it can clearly help this group.
With Darius and Donovan on the court, they're going to be the two focal points of any offensive attack the Cavs put out there. But Evan Mobley has had times where we've seen him be more aggressive offensively than we've seen times where he's kind of faded into the background of whatever the Cavs are doing. Serena, from your perspective, does Evan have to be a little more aggressive on that end of the court if the Cavs are going to reach their full potential this season?
In terms of this season, I mean, that's how you couched it. I think I forget often that this is his second year. Evan is 21 years old.
Yeah,
he
is
crazy. Incredible. And to watch some of his growth this year, first of all, he is talking so much more than I heard last season. That's going to be a huge step in his growth. Then we've seen games where J.A. hasn't played, right? And he's coming into his own, although when J.A. doesn't play, then he's a 5 out there, so he's switching positions. I think that the balance of, yes, Evan being aggressive and figuring all that out with Darius and Donovan, yes, of course, yes, the Cavs have to have Evan being aggressive for this team to reach their full potential. I think he is already being aggressive. I think it's just a matter of, it's his second year, he's 21 years old, and it takes time not just to figure those things out and to come into your own, but also to gain strength, to gain muscle, to know guys' tendencies, to feel comfortable in this group. So to answer your questions, yes, Evan Mobley is absolutely a key to the Cavs reaching their full-term potential. Absolutely, they need him aggressive. But the Cavs, and JB has talked about this, also have to figure out how to best unlock him, as they're also figuring out how do you best bring Donovan and Darius in. So I think it's just a matter of it taking a little bit of time and also realizing that Evans played a season and a quarter. And if you are really watching him this season and the growth he's already had since last year, he's already more aggressive than he was last year. He's not going to be the best version of Evan Mobley in year 2. We don't see guys' best versions of themselves when they're 21. We're seeing best versions of themselves when they're hitting year 4 and they've got these years under their belt, and now they're not second guessing themselves, right? And now they're being incredibly decisive with their decision making versus wondering whether or not coach might be upset or a player might be upset, because now they're so confident they're in their own element and they're not second guessing anything. And that is not something that comes overnight. And if you talk to anybody on this team about Evan who was around last year, they will tell you, man, he's more confident than he was last season. And that's what you want. As he goes to get more confident, the game becomes slower for him. It becomes more fun for him. He becomes more aggressive. So yes, they need him as aggressive as he can be, but it's just going to take a little bit.
It's a great point. We do forget how young he is. And
he's a baby.
And we have noticed, too, we've seen his maturity, not just, we're not around him. We don't see, how much he's come out of his shell just from a personality standpoint, but his game is different. It needs to come along. He needs to be, a little bit more aggressive offensively. And it is kind of trying to figure out that Rubik's Cube, how you get all of these stars involved to the right degree. And I'm sure JB's the guy to figure it out. Serena, thank you very much. Great having you on again. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Serena. Go Cavs.